We're live 10:06 in the morning. And first of all, please take a look at the video that I have up. I just put it up Vortec LS, different combos. We're in a 4.8, 5.3, and a 6-liter. We ran them. I just demonstrated what we did with various things. I mean, we didn't try to maximize, max each one of them out, but I want to show you what a 700 horsepower combo is, what an 800 horsepower combo is, and what a 900 horsepower combo is. You can make more, you can make less, depends on the boost, depends on the combination. But it illustrates, some pretty cool stuff with the Vortech Supercharger. Excuse me. And also in there are some other tests. So there's a cam test, an intake manifold test. So really, all in all, lots of good data. But today we're here to talk about something else. So let me know what you guys think. One of the things that I would like to do in 2023, obviously, get more things done, get more projects done. So your morning motivation, get your projects done. I just heard from the guys at Elgin, who I've done stuff with, who are great guys. They have an L78 camshaft in stock now. So they just ran or did a run of them. So he's going to send me one of those, which is awesome. So I can get that motor together, which would be cool. The other thing is that I want to do this year is, and I want you guys to know, this will be our poll for the day. Let me know what you guys think. So I run more 91 octane pump gas tunes on the boosted stuff, and I test. So normally when we run boosted stuff for a long time, it was raised gas only, just to be safe. And then once I discovered E85, and the 85 is cheap, and I go right down the street, run E85, we get E85. And it's cheap insurance. It also makes more power. It's cools the air. It's just better everywhere around. But lots of guys don't have that, and they want to know, well, what can I run on, pump gas? For you guys that are now asking, well, what can I run on 87? Hard pass. Not really interested in that. Maybe if I had the way that I would run 87 possibly on boost is if I could incorporate knock sensor technology, and or if I had like a 4.8 with or a 5.3 with 317 heads on it, and I polished the chambers and did that stuff, I might try to run stuff on 87. I mean, we could run stuff on 87. I've run boosted stuff on 87 before, back in my 5-liter Mustang days. If you have low compression and you got a big chamber and you don't have very much timing in it, it will all work without breaking something. But you just you won't be able to make very much power. And then what guys want to do is they always want to go that next detrimental step. Well, yeah, but I don't want to pay for premium. Okay, I want all the power and I want all the boost. I don't want to pay for premium gas. Look, just don't bother talking to me anymore because you're the wrong kind of guy. I want to run 87. Well, that's great. And I've done that on my supercharged Mustang, ran 87 all the time, but I never went into boost because I didn't want to hurt the motor. But the guys are then like, okay, well, we can do that on 91. Now I want to run on 87. Okay, that's great. Another mistake. And then the next mistake is, well, can I run 87 and tow with it using a turbo? And then it's just successive steps into stupidityville. It's not a good idea. I don't recommend it. But the question is, should I run 91 octane pump gas tunes in addition to whenever I'm doing 85? So let me know. Let me know in the comments, yo. So that'll be our poll for today. And that's kind of my question. That's what I want to talk about whenever we tune these. Like I said, E85 is, I just go grab, 4 or 5 of the 5-gallon things, throw in my truck, go down to the local gas station. It's right around the corner. It's literally 2 or 3 blocks away. I go fill those up, bring them back, run E85, put a sensible tune in it, 20, 22 degrees of timing or whatever. And then we can run and do whatever test we want, without concern of worrying whether while we're doing an intake test on under boost, do we have to worry about, hurting the motor? Because we don't want to do that. When motors get hurt, they end up, as you guys have seen, when something gets hurt, it ends up sitting for years and years. And so having a motor that's together is worth way more than this other stuff. But let me know what, and the other thing that won't happen if I do pump gas stuff is I'm not going to do pump gas. Like, what's the maximum I can do? I'm not interested in that. Not interested in, if you go up near the maximum, then you take your chances and you do your thing. I'm going to provide safe pump gas tunes just like we do with the E85 and everything else. The one time that when we do try to get maximum power, and even then, I'm not trying to get maximum power based on timing, like when we did the Big Bang stuff. I'm not putting all the timing in it. And anymore, I'm going to put less timing in it than I have before. I think it was a little spicy with some of these things. With 18 degrees at, 18 degrees at 29 pounds is a lot, I think. But in my defense, we had 118 octane fuel and we had ice water for the intercooler. So, that probably was pretty safe and it made good power. So let me know, 81 or 91 octane pump gas tunes. Let me know. The rest of the world has 93, or the rest of the country anyway has 93, so you can get away with even more stuff. Another degree or two or timing or whatever. So let me know on that. The other thing is, I just put another video up. Just went right up right before I went online here, right before I went live. It is a video on VORTECH supercharged LS motors, 700, 800. And 900 horsepower combinations, 4.8, 5.3, and 6.0. And oddly enough, because I know you're thinking, well, we must go in order, right? In order of the power and displacement. No, the 800 horsepower one is the 4.8. And we've made more than that with the 4.8 too. So the reality is that whatever combination you choose or whatever displacement you choose, ultimately, just like with a turbo, the amount of power that you can make is really going to be a function of the blower, the supercharger head unit that you choose. If you pick one that will make 1,000 horsepower, you could make 1,000 horsepower if you do other things that are right. Intercooling, the right fuel, a big camshaft and cylinder heads and all that stuff obviously helps. We also did, in that video, in addition to showing you, excuse me, how we created the different power levels, like 7, 8, 900 horsepower. Within those, we have a camshaft test, an LS9 and a BTR cam, and then also an intake test. I compared the factory LS1 intake, which, by the way, is terrible and should always be avoided at any cost, versus the truck manifold. I know why guys would pick that, usually a fitment thing, but pick anything else but the LS1 intake manifold. If the big cathedral port intake test should tell you nothing else, that was used as the baseline, the lowest horsepower baseline, against which all the gains from all the others were judged. So that was our low man on the totem pole starting point. So don't use that intake for anything. Pick something else. Pick an LS2, an LS6, a Dorman, a truck, a Trailblazer SS, a Fast, any other short runner, high RPM manifold, if that's the direction you want to go. Pick all of those things. They would be a lot better. Okay, so, and the trading is going well today. Tesla is just destroying itself. It's at a low. But the nice thing is, I make money whether it's high or low. I just make money when it changes, so it's good. So let's see what you guys got going on. We need more carb stuff. Oh, by the way, Night Wrencher, in this LS video that I just put up, both carb and EFI. The 4.8, not only was it a 4.8, but it was also a carbureted 4.8 blow through with an intercooler, because you should always do that. James, lucky for you, you don't have to watch this right now. You can scroll back. You can go watch the thing that you want to watch, or since they're being recorded essentially and they'll be there forever, you can watch either one of whenever you want. Turbo Sentra, so you were in the middle of a new one, LS 408 and 8 to 10 pounds. Yes, that's good. Showing the tune from pump gas to E85 would be cool. For the flex fuel guys, 5.3 cam, 7875. Should have the tune and power for pump gas. E30, E50, E85. Not going to do that. I'm only going to run E85. In fact, I'm not even going to know what the E85 is normally. Normally, don't even test it. It's enough. I'm going to do that on a shirt. Yes, L78 will be awesome if I get that thing running. I'm now contemplating maybe nitriting that camshaft. 91 tune for the ability to go anywhere on the street. Blue collar, how do you feel about the formula 0.257 times the number of cylinders times peak head flow? I don't do that. What I do is on a V8, it's the peak head flow times 2. And what that does is give you an idea, a rough estimation of what kind of power you could make. The vast majority of engine combinations do not make that. So for instance, if you have a 300 CFM head, it could support 600 horsepower. It can actually do more than that. We've seen 2.2, 2.3 horsepower per CFM for peak, for peak CFM, because the peak CFM isn't the only thing that's going to dictate power. Lots of other things do too. But that's for really high-end, dry sumped, high compression, not just airflow, but the right kind of camshaft and intake and all that stuff. So it takes a lot to make that sort of specific airflow output. Most of the things are way below that. So you can put a 300 CFM, here's a perfect example. You have a LS3 head, 315 CFM. You have it on a stock LS3. It's rated at 430 horsepower. It's not the 630 horsepower that it could be making. Even when you put a good camshaft in it, it's not going to make 630 horsepower. It takes a lot to do that, but it gives you an idea. It would help us understand the limits. You got 91 non-ethanol. That's probably a little better than what we have in California. 93 is rare in Oklahoma. I was just watching it. Might be changing my route for the boost on the 408. So what is it you're thinking of? AJ, thank you for the for the homemade cough syrup, I guess. That's not what the issue is. When I ran, my race and restoration shop, I carried 4 different types of VP fuel. We've run VP before. It works good. Oh, you wanted a 671, but now you're thinking torque storm. Completely different presentation, completely different power curves for those two. Recal, I tend to agree with that opinion, that if you're trying to make, you shouldn't be trying to make the maximum amount of power with low octane fuel. Those two things go together. If you want to make more power, especially if you want to take it to the drag strip, you should use the best fuel that you can. Whenever I took anything to the drag strip, I always put good fuel on it, because you're going to beat on it, and so you should run it on good fuel. Whenever we did the Silver State, we put good fuel on it. Whenever we go to Bonneville, we put good fuel on it. When you're driving it around, turn the boost down, turn the timing down, put pump gas in it. Putting a gearbox in a little Italian number. Unfortunately, it's broken. It's a broken Tortellini machine. No fun, not car stuff. Is it a Fiat? Is it a Ferrari? Is it a Lamborghini? Is it a Maserati? Is it a De Tomaso? Pop-Tarts and running a lathe. My kind of guy. I had a Terminator X and want 93 octane tune and a race gas tune. Can you do a demonstration? I won't be doing it. If I do 93 octane tunes, I'm not going to provide tunes for anybody because I don't do that. I'm not a tuner. I'll tell you what timing that I use at Wide Open Throttle to give you an idea. But the other thing, and one of the reasons that I didn't want to do this, is because what I can get away with on the engine dyno under optimized conditions with everything cold and good airflow and not a closed hood and all those things, and without the load of the accessory drives and full exhaust and all that, what I can do is not going to be what the average guy can do. And they're just going to get mad when, oh, Richard told me he ran 21 degrees or whatever the number was. It's not going to be that high on pump gas. It'll be more like in the low to mid teens. But they might not even be able to do that. My wife's MDX is 11-1 from the factory. 91 is required. It says that on my wife's Mercedes too. It's a turbo 2-liter thing, and it runs lots of boost. It runs like 20 pounds, so 91 is recommended. But it has enough knock sensor in it that which guys put 87 in it or 89, and it will still run, but it will take all the timing and the boost away. Richard, the torque arm will definitely fit better. AJ, you'd step all the way up to 89. Wow. Richard, will it be gas versus E85 or just gas test? It will be both. I've done lots of tests to show you pump gas timing levels and stuff and how they affect E85. We can do E85 versus gas. I've done that versus race gas, and we always pick up power when we go to E85, even with the same timing. We would just pick up, there would just be a really big difference between E85 with its extra timing versus pump gas with its much less timing. So it'd be a big difference between those two. We'll go over to live chat. And we have, should I run more 91 octane pump gas tunes? 86% saying yes. Who are the people that would say no to that? So let's zoom in and check. Man, still dropping like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. So are we down to the low? No, yeah, we are. We got it. We got a new low. New low on AMD. How's Amazon doing? Amazon's also dropping like a stone. So you are going to keep dropping, aren't you? Yes, you are. Let's see. Lots happened since I was gone. Richard, LM7 fast, ported 862, 233, twin GT45s. Yeah, this is a drag race car because I wouldn't have picked that camshaft for this, especially with twin GT35s on it. But 15 pounds, figure if the heads are ported right, let's say that's a 500 horsepower 5.3. And then the GT35s could get you to 1,000. They're GT35 82s. If they're 82Rs, maybe more than that. 15 pounds is going to put you right there. That should be 4 digits. My friend from Brazil said thanks for the help. Brazil! Brazil! This is Brazil. Ask him if he knows the Jenga. Rodney, we showed what running 195 degrees does. I showed you in the video how much power it's worth. Metal, I didn't see your comment before that. So you just came rolling in with people that live in America? What is that? $93 in water meth, 900 wheel horsepower achievable on the street. I don't know. I've never tried that. I don't like water meth. I don't like the distribution aspects of water meth, which is why I wouldn't trust it. I know it works, and if you could get it to all, it works, and it provides cooling, and it provides detonation resistance. It helps suppress detonation. It works great if you can get it evenly to all the cylinders, which has so far been a problem. Got my head, got my cast head closed chamber, 364, 11-to-1 small block, running around 93 pump gas with 7 PSI, and GT45. Blow through with an intercooler at 24 degrees. You've taken 12 degrees out at 7 pounds. That's probably realistic. And it's a cast iron head. Good on you, man. I'm not going to do a video on any sort of emissions stuff. What's your take on airfield ratio and timing with the GT45 LS on 93? I have videos up that show what effect different airfield has on power and also what different timing has an effect on power. Or are you asking what you should run? Your air fuel on a turbo application should always be in the 11s. And I don't know what motor this is, what temperature it is, what they do. You have an intercooler? Don't know anything else about it. Yeah, how about get some likes up there, yo? I have a flex fuel sensor in my car, so I can run pump gas if needed. Mostly run 85 on 20 pounds with boost and an F2. I have a second set of injectors, so I can run 30 plus PSI on methanol. Nice. Went down the M90 rabbit hole after live chat last night. Found Bren Speed, Big Mustang place said M90 Roush you mentioned on a Modular 4 has 500 to the tire. The Roush version of it, yeah, the one that I was saying would have real trouble doing 500 at the tire would be the little M90 that's used on the GTP on the 3800. They must be spinning the living snot out of those that M90 to get it to make that much. And they must have a really big inlet, and it's got to be a ported version and stuff. Nick, I'm just learning right now. I've been for the last I don't know, 6 or 8 months probably, I've been practicing. Did it? Does anybody have a question, an answer for him? I'm not the guy to answer this. To tune my LT1 with an 0411 PCM swap with HP tuners, do I need to buy the cable and 2 credits from HP tuners and register my VIN, or do I need the Bluetooth thing? Does anybody know? I don't do HP tuners and that stuff. James, what is the product? Been practicing since '94. Testing cats on the engine dyno. We can test them for flow, but not for like damaging them. That would be a very difficult thing. Cast heads like pump more than I thought they would. I've knock detection as well. Well, that's good. If you have knock sensors on it, that's awesome. Manual trans car, MB3500. Nice. What heads do you have on that? Hey, there's my email address. Is that right? Yes, it is. More than anything, it would be nice to clarify what fuel you're using each time. I think that I do. Pretty good at that. Any idea if the rumor about the GMC Cyclone coming back is true? I don't know. I'm not privy to all the stuff that the Motor Trend guys are. I don't go have meetings with Chevrolet and Ford, and I don't know the people there. Zero Fox given. That's awesome. Any suggestions on how to make cheap or easy power out of a PI-46? Yes, read the book that I wrote on modular performance, or do a search for Richard Holder modular performance. I wrote a lot of stories for Muscle Mustangs and Fast Forwards. The series was called Mods for Mods, and I did it for PI stuff and non-PI stuff and 4-valve stuff and 4-valve stuff, Ford GT stuff and GT 500 stuff. But the headers help. Guys probably have things like underdrive pulleys and things like that. Boost is a great thing. Cams are good for that. Cams are always good. But I was thinking back when I did mine, I had a 98 non-PI project car. And I hated it after I put cams in it. Hated it. You have 305 heads on it? Wow. When you put the 202 heads in the 305 or the 202 valves and the bigger intake and exhaust valves on there, did you widen the chamber? Wally, that was the best decision I ever made. You should just get rid of all of it. It's so life is so much easier. SE 400 would be crazy with twins mounted in front of it. I would like to test some of those motors. You like 87 octane? I ran it a lot. I run it in my truck. That's all I put in my truck, unless for towing. If I'm towing, I put 91 in it. 56 cc chambers, that's really small. But yeah, you did clearance of chambers. That's good. So when I go down to Westech, I'm also going to go to the wrecking yard. It's been a long time since I took a stroll. Although I want to do it not when we're having the California monsoon that's supposed to be hitting pretty soon. Any chance of a Chevy Ecotech? I've never run one. I don't know what the bell housing is or what the harness is or any of that. Snowstorm here in Montana. We got a bunch of snow. We got a bunch of snow here, which happens, but it's fairly rare. It was up in the hills. The Sierras, Tahoe's getting a ton of snow. Even more than an Ecotech would be cool, but even more than Ecotech, I would much rather run a quad 4. It's way more other guys. I've tried octane boosters, but the only way to really test octane boosters are to do the official octane test where you're demonstrating its resistance to detonation. And it has to be done in a lab. They have a rig for that. I talked to the guy that used to work, the guy that did Rocket Brand Race Fuel, used to work for Union 76 for, I don't know, decades. Really, really sharp guy when it comes to fuel. And he told me that the octane boosters don't increase it like 104 plus or whatever. Doesn't make your 91 104. It doesn't even change it by 1 full point. It doesn't even change it from 91 to 92. It changes from 91 to 91 point something. And so, and I don't want to pick on the 104 plus guys. I'm just using that as an example. I don't know if that's the one that he was talking about, but he said these octane boosters in general did that they don't make a big difference. It's not bad here right now. A little cloudy. By the Life Racing, yeah, you can run 615 lift. I would just check and make sure, because the things that you have to worry about are retainer to seal clearance. So that's pretty easy to adjust. And then I don't know what spring package they're talking about. Is it a coil line problem? That's easy to solve too. An iron. I would like to run an Iron Duke. I don't have high hopes for it making lots of power. I would just like to run one. I'd like to run an Iron Duke, and I'd like to run a North Star, and I don't want to do anything to it other than run it and then put a turbo on it and then run it again. Would 91 require a different spark plug, hot or cold? If you're running boost, you would have a colder plug in it. The 91 is not going to change that. I would put the same plug in a 91 as I would E85 if it had a turbo. The turbo would dictate the colder plug. .38 in Tahoe in a storm and snow later this afternoon. I would imagine. Although they said that the rain is supposed to come with slightly warmer weather, but maybe not at altitude. I want to run an Iron Duke just because it's so maligned. And the same thing, the North Stars I've seen run, and Mark has one that should be a runner, although it's been sitting out in the rain for a long time. I hope nothing's open on it. How's your pole doing? Good. When I chastise those 14%, it's now down to 11. So we're up to 89%. That pole should be 100. Easy. If you execute one more round trip order within 5 business days, this account could be flagged as a pattern day trader account. Scott, I already know what those rules are, right? We already have all that taken care of. To give you an idea right now, I have I have 11 trades today. A GT485, if it's 98 millimeters, that would be the X-Ducer. It's a 69 millimeter or so inducer. We're up to 90%. we're getting better. Test boost on 87. Yeah, the Iron Duke is the 4-cylinder Pontiac, but it's not the trophy 4-cylinder. It's the never won a trophy 4-cylinder. You have access to oxygenated fuel. Yeah, the 100 octane that we run on a lot of stuff is oxygenated. Intercooler question. I have a 72 Torino. Very cool. Rear mount billet 7265. 351 2V. Had air to air in front, but changing to air to water. Can I put it near the turbo? Where is the turbo at? Is it inside the car or where is it? And if you put it near the turbo, it's not going to lose any cooling. Yeah, the compressor wheel of a turbo DLC coated would have to be rebalanced. I think that the DLC coating would be pretty even all the way across the turbo. So I'd be surprised if it went out of balance. My trade costs are 0. It's in front of the rear axles. Okay. So you'd get probably the best cooling by having the intercooler as close as you can to the intake manifold, but it will still work. The participation trophy 4-cylinder. That's good. I like that too. Planning ahead an IMSA road race chassis. Yeah, I have the. I think the I do have that book that has that GTU car. Is Octane booster safe? Yeah, it is. Some of the stuff early on was not oxygen sensor safe, but normally on the can it says whether it is or not. Oxygen sensor safe. Sometimes when we're running 91 and we have a high octane NA motor, sometimes when we're running nitrous, I'll throw a can of Lucas octane booster in there. I think more because it just makes me gives me a warm fuzzy feeling, makes me feel better about my choices in life. And quite honestly, running a lot of the stuff that we run, if we run it on race gas, like I said, we just don't want the motor to get hurt. That's more important. So we can live to test another day. Because that's the way it is. So I've got to go down and redo the cam test, which is sucky. I hate redoing hours and hours and hours of work to get the same results. I can't wait to get the Dodge running. Figure out what the heck that bump is in the power curve. The Oldsmobile is probably using a quad 4, I'd imagine. Yeah, Nick, I'm doing day trading. I'm just doing scalping. Was Burns on here? I didn't see. Was he here earlier? Burnsy? Scrolling. No, not seeing. No stock key. If you make a big day trading, I want to see off-roading Ferrari. A big day trading for me is $100. So that's not Ferrari money. What four muscle cars are on your Mount Rushmore? There's lots of muscle cars that I like. But the one I'm going to get is a Chevelle. Could the bump in the Dodge because of a misfiring coil? That would be a drop in power. We're not seeing a drop in power. We're seeing a rise in power. $100 a day every day would be good. Yeah, that's oxygenated fuel versus regular fuel is a good test on an NA motor. As long as I can find oxygenated, as long as they're both the same octane. We've run the Q16 and stuff, and that's usually worth a little bit of power for Mondial money. I haven't tried the Torco stuff, the Torco octane booster. I'd like to. I think WestTech has some of that. But I don't know how you test it. The only way to test it is to do an actual in-lab test to tell you that it went from this to this. That's the test I want to see, because then we can actually evaluate it. The other way to test it in the real world would be to put it in a vehicle and do something so that you get knock counts, and then put the octane booster in there and cycle it through, and then see what else you could get away with until you get knock counts to see if there's some sort of improvement. You could kind of do that, but I'd like to see the actual change in octane. Burns is in the house. People were just asking for you. Pete, I'm not sure if I missed the testing on centrifugal superchargers with different cams. I have a 5.3 with a Vortech. Well, look at the video that's up that I just posted about a half an hour ago. That has a BTR cam versus a LS9 cam. But a Chuck Norris would be a good cam for a Vortech or an NA or a turbo or nitrous. 68, 69 Mustang fastbacks. I actually don't like those. That's not my favorite Mustangs. 65 and 66 fastbacks I like. I like the 69s and 70s. And I like Vox Mustangs. And I like Coyotes too, but I also like Terminators. Roush M90 stock pulley 3-inch. They ran a 249 with a 10% overdrive lower. So they go from a 7 to a 775 or something. 10 PSI. 4.6 head cams and headers and stuff. Yeah. It would be a lot easier to make the power if you did everything that you could to the motor to have the motor make more power, and then that way the blower would have to support less pressure and it could just support flow. Because if you spin a blower, and we need to have that conversation, that needs to be one of the things. I need to get some data from the guys at Kenny Bell, because if you spin the blower at, let's pick a number, 15,000 RPM, if you let it free flow, it will flow the most amount of air. If you have it produce 1 PSI by blocking it, basically, it will flow less. And then every subsequent amount of boost that you go up, you're spinning it that fast at this boost level, it flows less. So anything that you could do to make the motor flow more and have the boost pressure drop at the same blower speed, then you'll flow more air. You'll make more power. 68, 69, and 72. Unless power is down everywhere except for the spike. Yep, that's possible. But given the fact that we're already making more power NA than I thought that the motor would, that doesn't seem to be the case. We do get winter fuel in California. Oh, do you get winter blend windshield washer fluid in California? That's stuff that tastes stronger. They have different levels of different degrees below zero or whatever. Richard, if I blew a hole in my piston and squirted my valve cover gasket out, do I need to worry about the seals on the turbo being blown also? Did you get particles into the turbo? You should look and see if you have piston parts in the hot side of the turbo. You don't need to worry about the seal in the turbo. What you need to worry about is mechanical parts in the turbo. I'd like to see a spark plug wire coil test on different fuels. We could do that, but here's what I'll tell you is running stock plug wires and stock coils on an LS have made 1,540 horsepower. So you're not going to see more power unless, just like what we did with the spark plug thing, you're likely not going to see any power unless you cure a misfire situation. And since there are no misfire situations, even with the stock spark plugs and the stock coils, we ran LS3 coils on that particular one. So unless you cure a problem, you're probably not going to see any change in power. Sport roofs are my favorite 69 to 70 Stangs. I like a Boss 302 much better than I like a Boss 429. I just mean the shape of the body. If I had to choose between those two, I would pick the big motor because it's worth about $1 bajillion. Stock Honda ignitions are very good too. We normally put ignition amplifiers on them though. Turbo Sentra's out. We have 2 more minutes. Man, you're just all down today. I'm going down. Let's see if you get rebounds later in the day. What's the biggest stall converter you'd run on a vehicle that you could daily drive? 5.3 Vortech supercharged turbo 400, 373 gears, 20-inch tall tires. What is your cam in that? The cam would kind of dictate what kind of stall I would run. And as a daily driver, I would tend to go lighter on the stall than I would heavy, meaning smaller. Not smaller diameter, smaller in RPM. '69 Hemi Cuda. I like the 71s, I think, is the body style that I like. For Chevelle, 70 to 72, I think, are the years I like. You want to be a bajillionaire? That would be nice. Tesla had a bunch of cars that didn't have the steering wheel bolts on, and they also crashed into the self-drive mode crashed into the fire truck also, which is probably bad. But again, I start at the beginning of the day and we look at the trend and go, today it's going down. But as it goes down, if we sell at 76 and then buy at 75, it's the same thing as buying at 75 and selling at 76. Yeah, I think I would have a real hard time letting a car drive by itself while I was in the driver's seat. I don't even like being in the passenger seat with somebody else driving the car. And don't take John Wick, Chevelle, exactly. Or his Mustang. '66 is the early ones. Yeah, Jeff Smith has those earlier Chevelles too. One of those earlier Chevelles, and a guy down the street from us has one. And I like those. They're square and they look cool. But I just like the 70s stuff better. I don't like lane assist. Yeah, I don't even like drive-by-wire throttle bodies, quite honestly. I mean, my wife's car has one, but I don't even like that. I don't like requesting that it does what I want it to do. Lucky has a 66. I need to send Lucky a message today. I need him to send me a photo. Really, Richard will not be a rally co-driver. No, left, full left, right. Oh, Derek. Yeah, Scott, that was his buddy at the chop shop. And then, quite honestly, airbags and all that stuff is good, and even ABS and yaw control and all these things for because the vast majority of people that are buying these cars are not qualified to drive these cars. So uh, I do have to say I like the that's one of my favorite things about my first car was a 70 and a half split bumper Camaro, and the round taillights on that particular year I like a lot. No airbags. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, could you imagine? I don't know how many of you have ever driven, but you could pick your own cliffside, curvy road. But Highway One in California basically drives on the edge of the world and with lots of cliffs. So I can't imagine letting a car self drive on something like that. There is no way. I don't test. I don't trust Elon Musk to make good decisions, let alone to have him uh, decide whether or not the or have the vehicle decide whether or not I'm not going to go off a cliff. Love early second gen F bodies, 73. Yeah, the 73 Trans Ams are good. I'd like to get my mom's 69 SS 396 shell. Those are nice. I like those. Those are cool. Or the other modern muscle car that I would like would be a Viper GTS. I like those a lot too. Which car has the best cam? Well, I'm building both an SS or the 396, the 375 horse 396, and an LS6. So it could be either one. 70 to 72 pre-screaming chicken TAs. Hey, don't discount the screaming chickens. Trans Ams are smoking the bandit legend. Yeah, the LS6 is definitely considered one of the high water marks for in 70 for the muscle car era. Somebody's beeping me. Beep, 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 beep. I'm going to close out our poll at 90% saying, yes, Richard, please run pump gas stuff. The 325 horse 327? I don't remember that one. The L79 was a 350 horse, also a 325. So it depends on what year it was. So I didn't know that. I only know the L79 as the 350 horse, but an L79 was also a 325 depending on what year it was. A beeper? No, I don't have a beeper. But I thought that I heard my phone. I don't know, but I don't have it, so I don't know what it was. No beeper. That's one thing I've never had. I've never owned a beeper. I remember one of my old girlfriends asked me because she could never get a hold of me, so she asked me to get that. And this was kind of pre-cell phone stuff, I guess. And I said, "Oh no, absolutely not." '69 SS 396. That is good. That is bueno. Although I tend to think that when I put these together, whether it's the LS6 with that same camshaft is definitely going to drive better than the 396 would. The 396 with that same camshaft is going to be much more cantankerous, I think. And so it'd be interesting to see, because it has the same heads and the same intake and essentially and the same camshaft, essentially the same intake manifold. So it'd be interesting to see where both of those make peak power at. The 396 should make peak power higher than the 454 does. So the 454 being bigger should drive better with that camshaft. Neither one of them, I don't think, are going to be noted for their drivability. We knew when to come in. We come in when the street lights are on, right? Cole, that was the poll for today. Should I do more testing with 91 octane? Can you give us vacuum readings at idle on both of those? Yeah, we could try to do that. It'll be easy because it's carbureted. Wonder what's the we'll take a 800 RPM idle speed or something. Someone called you when you weren't home. Nothing happened. That's right. And then you could just leave it off the hook. But the cool thing about the phones is when you would do the karate chop on the one end and have it pop up into your hand and go, yeah, yellow. 87 octane and boost. No, hard pass on the 87 octane and boost. An answering machine. Yeah, an answering machine was high digit. '68 Chrysler 300. Nice, very nice. Okay, guys, it is time to go. I have to get going. Please go check out the video that I already put up. VORTECH, supercharged stuff. 4.8s, 5.3s, 6.0s, boost and cams and intakes. Oh my. I'll see you guys all tonight. Probably. We got a soccer game. We'll see what we can do. Bam, 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 bam.